Welcome in, everyone, from the Snaps family. Collin Wilson joining us right now to give some best bets. We're going to be doing a little before Christmas in case you need a little extra cash to get some presents, last-minute presents, which I'm going to need to do because I'm always falling behind with the presents. And then we'll get into a little playoffs, some New Year's Six games, all of that. And as you see, it's always green behind Collin. Collin, man, appreciate you jumping on with us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we had a huge championship weekend. The season as a whole was great. I think we only had like one red weekend behind me. So I'm happy to get into this bowl season. Boy, if you can keep track of who is in the portal, what coaches are going, like if you can keep track of that, these bowl lines have moved so fast since they opened.
Yeah, it is. I mean, every single day, I mean, was it over 1,000 guys in the first day of the portal opening were in there. These rosters with not even the transfer guys, but guys opting out. So make sure you stick with us at Snaps. We can kind of update you with what our thoughts are, and obviously Colin's thoughts of how that shifts the lines, how much that affects, obviously, putting some extra cash in your pockets before the holiday seasons really get ramped up. All right, I want to start with the big games first, and then we'll kind of work our way to some of the games before Christmas. The playoff games. We got Alabama versus Michigan, the 1-4, Michigan being one, obviously, and then Washington versus Texas. Kind of what do you like early from those two games, Colin?
Yeah, I'll be at the Rose Bowl covering that one. I think that's the easiest one to handicap. Michigan runs inside zone with Blake Corum. Alabama is the best at stopping inside zone. Plus, their secondary, we've said it a billion times on the show, they're number one ranked by PFF when it comes to coverage. JJ McCarthy healthy? He should be by the time this game rolls around. But what kind of game does Michigan want to play? Do they want to get into a shootout like they did with TCU? Do you want to go grind? If you go grind on the ground, Alabama's got your number. You want to go shootout? Jalen Milroe's got your number. I don't see an avenue to Michigan winning that game. So I do like Alabama there in the Rose.
Nice. Even money line. Because I think, are they dogs right now?
Well, I think that's where you have to determine what do you want to do with your money. Do you want to go money line in the single game, or do you want to put a future on it and get even bigger number and take that to Houston? So whatever way you want to split it, I'm all in on Alabama.
I'm going money line. I feel so good about Alabama in this game. I think we've seen you talk about trying to play a similar style. I mean, they tried to play a similar style to Georgia a couple of years ago. They got smacked around. I think you try to do that against Alabama. I don't know if we'll see like the extreme of what Georgia did to them in Miami a couple of years ago, but you can't try and do what the GOAT does best and think you're just going to beat Alabama.
Right.
I don't care if your name is Jim Harbaugh. So, and I do think that plays a factor into too. Nick Saban versus Jim Harbaugh. Nick has done it over and over again. Jim is over in the playoffs. So, all right, let's jump to any other feelings on the other game.
I do think Texas-Washington is going to be highly competitive. Texas has an advantage everywhere on the field except for one area. That's their secondary. They're going to be missing a guy from ejected for targeting. He'll be out for the first half. Jalen Catalon, my old Razorback, he's already in the portal. Malik Muhammad got hurt in the Big 12 championship game. We don't know how he's going to be, the freshman guy in the secondary. Where does Washington like to attack? Out on the outside and deep on the verticals when they get it. That is going to be rough for Texas to defend. Now, Texas can get their points, but do we know how Texas gets a little lackadaisical down in scoring opportunities in the red zone? If that creeps up, Washington can win this game. So I like the points with Washington, but I would stop at 3. I think Texas at 1. I think they win by 1, 2. I'd still buy Washington 3.5, 4.
Nice. All right, let's jump to some New Year's Six bowls before we jump into some of the pre-Christmas activity going on. What do you like in those big time bowl games?
Well, Missouri will be the heaviest dollared wager I will make the entire bowl season. It's not.
Is it a hot sauce? Are we talking hot sauce?
It's already a hot sauce. It's posted and it's not getting hedged. It's gonna be more than probably all the other bowls combined. And that number opened up plus 6.5 on Missouri. And then you kind of waited around to see how this Ohio State team was going to react going into a bowl that they didn't expect. Kyle McCord hits the transfer portal. You've got, Knowles interviewing for other jobs. Marvin Harrison's not going to play in this game. If there's no explosiveness from this Ohio State team and they can't run the ball against Missouri, because nobody can run the ball against Missouri. Missouri has a leaky defense from a pass perspective. Ohio State can't expose that whatsoever. Drink is bringing up a fired crew down to the Cotton Bowl. So that'll be a big one. I haven't put money down on Ole Miss against Penn State in the Peach. Ole Miss, it's for seeing Lane Kiffin kind of troll Penn State, people that are going to the portal or coaches that are moving. And Kiffin saying that we'd expect to have 0 opt-outs whatsoever for this game. So it's one of those things where I lean the Rebels pretty hard, but I'm going to wait to see what all of our factors are before I hit that game.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Missouri game in the sense of like Ohio State and Marvin Harrison at this point hasn't declared, but you would think without his starting quarterback, like why play in the game? Just don't think like that's your production. I mean, that is your entire production has been Marvin Harrison Jr. and he's probably not going to play in the game with a bunch of other guys that are now in the transfer portal. So I think Missouri comes in there pissed off, excited. I don't know, like pissed off. There's really nothing to be mad about. You're 10-2. You're playing a New Year's Six game, but the thought of being 11-2 and saying that one of those wins is against Ohio State. And a recruit's not going to know any better. But for Eli Drinkwitz to go recruiting and say, we win 11-2. I said this yesterday on our show with Cole Kubelik. No one has played Georgia better besides Alabama than Missouri over the past 2 seasons.
Yep.
So like to say like, hey, we've gone toe-to-toe with Georgia. We just beat Ohio State. We're building something special here in Missouri. Like that is a lot of motivation for Eli to get those guys ready to go in this game. And they don't care who it's against. It's against Ohio State. Like that's it is against Ohio State. And that is what he will be preaching into that game. So I think Missouri wins, and I think they win pretty big. Is there a number you would stop at with that game though?
That's a great question because it's going to get to 3.5. We're so far past power ratings here because in any normal world, Ohio State would be favored. So I would say it's 1.5, 2 on the board. As you're watching snaps, get it. I mean, this is priority one. Get it down. I think at 3.5 you would stop. Although Missouri is not going. Drink's not going to let his foot up here. He's going into he's going into the living rooms of mothers and fathers of recruits to say we beat Ohio State by X. So we'll
I'm with you. He's doing a great job recruiting too. All right, let's get a little bit. If you need that extra cash to get presents for your significant other, your kiddos, whatever it is, and you want to wait till like 3 days before Christmas, so you want to put some last second bets in. I think bowl games start on the 16th, something like that. All right, what are some early games that can get some money in everyone's pockets before the Christmas shopping ends?
Well, let's go with one of those early games. Let's do Jacksonville State going up against Louisiana in the New Orleans Bowl. This is, everything to Jacksonville State and Rich Rod. This is one of the best, most exciting offenses in Conference USA, maybe in G5. Way too much for Louisiana to handle here. All the motivation in the world for a squad that didn't think they could make a bowl game. They weren't allowed to compete for their conference title. This is going to be a very big win for Jacksonville State. After that, if Diego Pavia is playing for New Mexico State in the New Mexico Bowl, they are going to absolutely roll Fresno State, who has no reason to play. It looks like Tedford is going to step aside again for medical reasons. Not sure that any motivation for Fresno State. Not that they had the explosiveness or the success rate to even keep up with New Mexico State. But Diego Pavia is an absolute animal. And so I would jump on this number. I don't think it can stop steaming. That's how much I think. And they're so well coached with Jerry Kill. I think Believe just named Coach of the Year. So those are definitely 2 early ones that I would hop on.
Beautiful. All right. Well, those are your early bets looking into bowl season. We'll definitely have Collin on a couple more times, earn some cash, stay on tuned to obviously transfer portal, what's going on with guys with opt-out. So we'll continue to bring Collin on to keep us updated of how that affects some of these lines throughout the bowl season. Collin, man, appreciate it as always. And hopefully that light stays green throughout the holiday season for you.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and appreciate you guys. We'll be back again next week. T-Bob will be back from his vacation, so you'll have me and T next week breaking down bowl games, everything else when it comes to college football. Don't forget, 12,500. We got the 10K mark, the next step before the national championship. We appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. Let's keep it up, and we will see you next week.